Emily, he said, voice hesitant, almost a whisper as he entered her office. Can we talk? Emily didn't look up from her laptop. She allowed a beat, then lifted her gaze slowly, meeting his eyes without a hint of the longing he remembered so well. Daniel, she said evenly, voice calm and cold, what is it? He swallowed hard. I made a mistake. You made many mistakes, Emily interrupted, leaning back in her chair. Her eyes were sharp, controlled, but behind them burned the memory of years of betrayal. Mistakes that cost me my marriage, my peace, and nearly my confidence. I don't need apologies, Daniel. I need nothing from you. Daniel's face fell. He had never seen her like this, strong, untouchable, a force he no longer controlled. Panic flickered in his eyes. Emily, please. I want to fix things. I still love you. Emily's laugh was soft but deadly, like a warning whispered over a canyon. Love? You call what you did love? You flaunted her in my face, mocked my body, abandoned me while I recovered from childbirth. You don't get to rewrite history because you've realized what you lost. The room was silent except for the faint hum of the city below. Daniel's jaw tightened, his usual arrogance stripped away, leaving only desperation. Emily returned to her work, picking up a file as though he were invisible. Daniel left the office that day with nothing but the weight of his own failures pressing on his shoulders. Vanessa had already left him for someone else, a man who didn't carry the baggage of his mistakes, and Daniel was left alone to face the ruins of the life he had destroyed. But Emily's life was just beginning. She started dating again, carefully, patiently. She met Michael Hayes, a senior executive at a partner company, a man whose respect, warmth, and quiet admiration reminded her of what love could truly feel like. He didn't care about her past, her body changes, or the scars left by betrayal. He saw her brilliance, her strength, and the heart she had never stopped nurturing, both for her son and herself. Together, Emily and Michael built a life filled with love, laughter, and mutual respect. Noah grew up surrounded by the kind of love his father had never been able to give. Emily had found not just happiness, but the satisfaction of knowing she had rebuilt her life from the ashes Daniel had left behind. And as for Daniel Reed, he learned, too late, that cruelty and selfishness leave only emptiness. The woman he had mocked, betrayed, and abandoned had risen above him, and in doing so, she became untouchable, unstoppable, and unbreakable. It had been almost a year since Daniel had first realized the extent of Emily's transformation. One morning, he found himself standing outside her office again, heart pounding, palms clammy, mind racing with regret he couldn't escape. He had lost Vanessa, she had grown tired of his arrogance and betrayal, and left him for a man who actually respected her. Now Daniel faced the woman he had tormented, abandoned, and mocked, and the power she wielded over him was undeniable. Emily, he said, voice strained, almost pleading, as he stepped into her office without knocking this time. His normally confident posture was gone, replaced by desperation. I need to talk to you. Emily looked up from her desk, adjusting her blazer. She regarded him calmly, a serene storm in her eyes. Talk, she asked, her voice soft but sharp, like glass cutting through air. Daniel, you've already said enough. You destroyed what we had, and now you're trying to rewrite history with excuses. Daniel's hands trembled. I made a mistake. I realize now what I've lost. I love you, Emily. I can't live without you. Let me make it right. Emily leaned back in her chair, her gaze piercing him like a scalpel. Love? You call leaving me alone with a newborn, mocking my body, flaunting a mistress in my face and making me feel worthless love. Her voice rose, controlled fury laced with heartbreak. You don't get to come back because you finally realized you want me. That's not how this works. Daniel stepped closer, desperation turning into pleading. I was a fool. Vanessa was nothing. She never mattered. Please, Emily, I'll do anything. Just come back to me. Emily stood, tall, radiant, her posture flawless, a woman who had endured betrayal and emerged unshakable. Anything? She echoed. Do you know what I want, Daniel? He nodded frantically. Yes, yes, anything you want, I'll do it. Her eyes glinted coldly, and she smiled, not the soft, loving smile from years ago, but a sharp, cutting one. I want nothing from you. You had your chance. You had a wife, a child, a life built on love and trust, and you threw it all away for selfishness. I am done. Daniel's face fell. The confident, commanding man everyone knew was gone, replaced by a hollow shell, staring at the woman who had become his superior in every sense. Emily, please. I can change, she shook her head. You won't change, Daniel. You never have. I pity you truly, but I do not forgive you. And I do not want you in my life ever again. He opened his mouth to speak, to plead more, but Emily walked past him, heels clicking on the marble floor, leaving him standing alone in her office. Each step was a statement. I am untouchable. I am free. Outside, Michael Hayes waited in the lobby, calm, steady, a reassuring presence. Emily stepped into his arms, and for the first time in years, she felt truly safe. Michael looked at her, not with the greed or entitlement Daniel once had, but with admiration and love, ready to go home. He asked, his voice gentle. Emily smiled, a smile filled with relief, triumph, and peace. Yes, she said, holding Noah's hand tightly as he ran toward them. Daniel, meanwhile, was left with nothing. No Vanessa, no wife, no respect, no power. The corporate world he had once ruled mocked him quietly, projects stalled, colleagues avoided him, and whispers of his arrogance and downfall followed him like a shadow. He had lost everything to the choices he made, and the emptiness was all he had left. Months later, Emily and Michael hosted a quiet dinner at their Lakeview home. Noah laughed, building towers with his blocks, while Emily watched him, her heart full. She thought of the woman she had been, the girl who cried alone at night, who carried a child while her husband betrayed her, and she knew she had not just survived. She had thrived. Her phone buzzed with a message from Daniel. Can we meet? I can explain. Emily glanced at it, then smiled. She deleted it without a second thought. No explanation, no conversation, no closure needed. She had built a life without him, stronger and happier than she ever imagined. She turned to Michael, who kissed her forehead gently and whispered, "You're unstoppable, Emily." And she was. The woman Daniel had mocked, abandoned, and tried to erase had risen like a phoenix from the ashes of betrayal. She had love, respect, power, and peace. And Daniel? He was a ghost in the life she had left behind, a reminder that cruelty never wins when resilience is on your side. Emily Carter had been betrayed, mocked, and abandoned, but she had become untouchable, unbreakable, unstoppable.